Good evening and welcome to Third Act Faith's December General Meeting, Learning to Live in Darkness. I'm Betsy Bennett. I'm co-facilitator of Third Act's Faith Working Group, along with Kathleen Dixon, who is coordinating our music tonight. Our meeting this evening will have a contemplative nature. We'll have some readings, some music, and we'll have some conversation also. So I invite you to listen, reflect with us, and be ready to reflect together in small groups when we get to that point. We're opening with a traditional Jewish prayer. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of time and space, whose work brings the evening dusk, whose wisdom opens the gates of dawn, whose understanding changes the day's division, whose will sets the succession of seasons and arranges the stars in their places in the sky, who creates day and night, who rolls light before darkness and darkness from light, who makes day pass into night, who distinguishes day from night. God of hosts is your name, living and ever-present God. May your rule be with us forever and ever. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings each evening's dusk. To help us think about our theme this evening, I'm going to read just a paragraph from the introduction of a fairly new book called How to Winter by Carrie Leibowitz, and it's a book all about living in darkness. How we approach winter is a pretty good litmus test for how we approach other dark, difficult seasons in our lives. How do we respond to situations out of our control? How do we react to circumstances we did not choose? Do we shrink and wither, or do we turn inward with intention and cultivate moments of joy? Do we focus on frustration, or do we seek wonder and connection to get us through? And most important, which mindsets are motivating us, consciously or unconsciously? Are our mindsets holding us back or propelling us forward? Winter isn't just a season in nature. Winters, times of challenge, struggle, or grief, can come into our communities, our homes, and our lives in unexpected ways and at unexpected times. The strategies I observed in my research on how people around the world uplift winter can help us weather any storm, snow or otherwise. The same practices that help us embrace and enjoy winter can also help us through difficult seasons of life. I invite you to listen to a brief song, The Dark of Winter, and we'll follow that with a minute of silence.
Dark of winter, soft and still, your quiet calm surrounds me. Let my thoughts go where they will, ease my mind profoundly, and then my soul will sing a song, a blessed song of love eternal. Gentle darkness, soft and still, bring your quiet to me.
Thank you, everyone. I invite you to stay in that meditative space. Keep breathing. Keep your breath moving. I'm going to share our prayer from the Return to the Root book by Joyce Rupp. You know, as the winter time surrounds us, as the darkness of the this time of year in the northern hemisphere um, surrounds us, many of us, you know, have a little trouble, a little bit of maybe a little depression or a little seasonal affective disorder, or a lot of other things can come. And of course, then there's the darkness of the things going on in the world right now. Some of those things as well can create a great deal of anxiety and stress. And so this is an opportunity, and this whole time today together is really an opportunity to consider that part of what the darkness is a time of rest and relaxation. And if we look at nature, which is our best teacher, and look at nature and look at the little tiny buds on the trees that are all tight and waiting, they're full of potential. They're just waiting for the sun. They're waiting for the rain of spring to open up again. So it's not only a time of relaxation and rest, can be that, but a time of restoration and renewal. Everything we know, everything in nature shows us that things need to have time to rest. They need to go back into the dirt, just like all of us will eventually go back into the dirt. But what's really amazing is that in a few months, we'll be walking around and see those little buds start to pop. And I know every time that happens, I'm just amazed again, even after decades of seeing it every day, you know, every spring. It's a beautiful, beautiful reminder that even in the darkest hour, light, light is returning. So I'll read this poem to you. It's a prayer to you. And if you'd like, there is a response after each part of the prayer, for the first 5 pieces of the prayer anyway. And to yourselves, with staying muted, please, but you can read this response. It's in the chat, and I'll tell you what it says. It says, strengthening darkness, we are the terminal buds waiting in repose to be energized in our vigilant dormancy. So feel free to repeat that as a response when I'm done with each of this. So here's the first one of part of the prayer. Again, this is written by Joyce Rupp from her book, Return to the Root. Each morning when we awaken with light still hiding in the sleeve of winter, may we receive what is needed to meet the challenging requirements of the day. And you can say, strengthening darkness, we are the terminal buds, waiting in repose to be energized in our vigilant dormancy. Like terminal buds drawing strength from the roots of a wintered tree, we greet the darkest days of the year with hope, trusting that the potency of the Holy One's love will reinforce this essence of our being. Oh, strengthening darkness, we are the terminal buds, waiting in repose to be energized in our vigilant dormancy. When evening arrives each wintered day and our lists of to-do is not fully accomplished, let us enter the darkness and discover gratitude for the positive features that were experienced. Oh, strengthening darkness, we are the terminal buds waiting in repose to be energized in our vigilant dormancy. Each day, let us remember that winter darkness invites us to breathe in stillness, to rest in the arms of silence, where what is of greatest value can be deemed and deepened and enhanced in us. Oh, strengthening darkness, we are the terminal buds waiting in repose to be energized in our vigilant dormancy. No matter how expansive the world's suffering, we can unite with that pain through our empathy, the gift of compassion that our experience of darkness empowers in us. Strengthening darkness, we are the terminal buds, waiting in repose to be energized in our vigilant dormancy. Oh, strengthening darkness, we are the terminal buds on the tree of life, waiting, trusting, remaining hopeful. May these valued movements of the heart increase in us. Light-filled days will come again into our lives. As the radiant warmth of springtime unfurls the hidden green in the buds whose arms wrapped tightly around themselves, so will surprises of future light awaken and unfurl what has seemed forever buried in our winter's repose. May it be so. Take another moment to just be in silence and absorb that feeling and energy from that beautiful prayer.
Darkness, enfold us and hold us, inform us, transform us. Oh, beautiful darkness. Oh, comforting darkness. Oh, beautiful darkness. Oh, comforting darkness. Surround us all around us and hold our light like sky stars.
I'm Jane Ellen Nickel. I am the communications chair for Third Act Faith and a member of the coordinating committee. I want to just share a few thoughts and a couple more readings before we break into small groups. Western culture and religions have tended to shun the darkness. We tend to construct dualisms of light and dark, good and evil. But by constructing darkness as evil, we fail to glimpse the mystery that often lies hidden in shadows. If you know the work of the mystical poet Henry Vaughan, he refers to this as a deep but dazzling darkness. Eastern philosophy in general does a better job of balancing dualisms like light and dark, recognizing that both are necessary. As we see the breakdown in institutions around us, Hinduism especially reminds us that destruction coexists with creation, that birth involves death, and that good can come out of difficult times. The Hindu goddess Kali is the goddess of death, time, and destruction, often associated with violence. But she's also a strong mother figure and a symbol of motherly love, embodying Shakti, that feminine energy, creativity, and fertility. The poet May Sarton refers to this in her poem From the Invocation to Kali when she writes, Kali be with us. Violence, destruction, receive our homage. Help us to bring darkness into the light, to lift out the pain, the anger, where it can be seen for what it is, the balance wheel for our vulnerable, aching love. Put the wild hunger where it belongs, within the act of creation, crude power that forges a balance between hate and love. Help us to be the always hopeful gardeners of the Spirit, who know that without darkness nothing comes to birth, as without light nothing flowers. Bear the roots in mind, you, the dark one, Kali, awesome power. The Irish poet and priest John O'Donoghue also recognizes the need for both darkness and light in exploring our innermost longings, and that true light holds within it truths that linger in the shadows. He writes in his poem for light, light cannot see inside things. That is what the dark is for. Minding the interior, nurturing the draw of growth through places where death in its own way turns into life. In the glare of neon times, let our eyes not be worn by surfaces that shine with hunger made attractive. That our thoughts may be true light, finding their way into words which have the weight of shadow to hold the layers of truth. That we never place our trust in minds claimed by empty light, where one-sided certainties are driven by false desire. When we look into the heart, may our eyes have the kindness and reverence of candlelight. That the searching of our minds be equal to the oblique crevices and corners where the mystery continues to dwell, glimmering in fugitive light. When we are confined inside the dark house of suffering, that moonlight might find a window. When we become false and lost, that the severe noon light would cast our shadow clear. When we love, that dawn light would lighten our feet upon the waters. And as we grow old, that twilight would illuminate treasure in the fields of memory. And when we come to search for God, let us first be robed in night. Put on the mind of morning to feel the rush of light spread slowly inside the color and stillness of a found word. With these reminders of the role that both darkness and light play in guiding us through difficulty, We are getting ready to break into small groups. We'll divide you into groups of 4. So if there's anyone who needs to leave the meeting at this point, we would ask that you do that now so that our groups will be evenly divided. Once you're in your group of 4, feel free to introduce yourselves to each other, and then you'll have 30 minutes. We wanted to make this a substantive time when you can really talk to people about where you are, what you're feeling, and again, using these images of light and dark to see how we get through this time. There are 2 sets of questions. The first one has to deal with dark, and we'll put these in the chat in a minute. Question 1, what causes you fear or stress in this dark time? And the second part of that, how can you use the darkness to prepare for what comes next? Then about halfway through your time together, we'll ask you to stop and talk about light. And the 2 prompts there are, where do you find light? And how can you share light with others? We'll do that until the top of the hour, and then we'll come back and have an informal time of sharing. There's no need to take notes or select a spokesperson, but when we regroup, we'll just invite anyone who has something they'd like to share to offer that to the group. So I will put the questions in the chat. And I will remind you, if you're not familiar with how breakout groups work, you lose the chat when you go into breakout rooms. So anyone who thinks about it, please let's see, and I'm having trouble finding chat. Please copy these questions so that you'll have them for your groups.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you all had as a wonderful time sharing as I did in my group. This is an opportunity for anyone to share some insight or learning or something that touched you in your group. Just use the mechanical hand raising, and we only have about 10 minutes to do this, so we have to be brief. So is there anyone that would like to share something from what they experienced in their small group?
Go ahead, Paul. You can just unmute yourself.
Oh,
There we go.
whoop, you were unmuted for a
Hey,
moment there. Okay, Paul.
A thought that just crazily bumps through my mind. There are some grandparents in this crowd, and typically we have grandchildren. I wonder whether there might be some sort of initiative for grandparents to drag grandchildren into some sort of projects or activities, or vice versa. I'll just leave it there.
Or they'll drag us.
Right.
Yes. Melissa.
A couple of us realized that darkness is a place of peace and rest, not a place of fear. So the winter isn't the darkness. There's a lot of other commotions that are the darkness.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for that.
Well, I'll share that our group talked a lot about how important interacting with others has been as a way to use the darkness to move us towards the light, as a way to find joy, to find light in days where we're not sure. you know, the importance of friends and family and congregations, strangers. We talked about unexpected joys coming toward us, as one of the ways that light seems to be in our lives. And that gives us strength and resilience is the right word, I think.
Mhm. Yeah, Jane Ellen.
I just want to share, our group shared several book titles with each other. We were having a little book club. Two of them actually are on a list that we're compiling. It's on our website and it'll be in our newsletter Thursday. But I'm putting the link in the chat. If you have more titles you'd like us to share, especially books about darkness, about wintering, about the beauty of darkness and getting through times like this, please let us know. We'll make those available for anyone who's interested.
Thanks, Jane Ellen. Jessica.
Thank you. The group I was in, I was privileged to be in, the sharing of insights were remarkable. But what I was really struck by is when there were just moments where we were just silent
Mhm.
and we were gazing at one another. And that was so wonderful, just to be in silence, yet to feel so comfortable in one another's virtual presence. It was a gift.
Hmm. It was.
I'll just share briefly that a friend of mine who was on the original call and said she couldn't stay, did send a picture to me of her and her grandchild standing by their Christmas tree and said, "This is what helps me through the darkness."
Mhm. Yes, Sandy.
We also talked about books and music in particular that was very much helpful or a balm to our souls. And so we each, I think, gained a few ideas for music and books. And just said at the end, I just felt like we kind of had a group hug. It was good.
Hmm.
I'm sorry, I'm going to come in at this time. I can't find the hand on mine.
Oh, that's quite all right, Connie.
But in our group, it was very, very interesting discussion. And I tried to find the lady, and she's not on anymore. So I really hope it's okay. But one of the ladies in our group has family, and she's from another country, and she's terrified, and she's living in darkness right now. And my own daughter-in-law is from a foreign country, and unliked foreign country, and I'm really worried. I'm really hoping, that she's not going to have to face, what's going on, so by deportation and everything, so
Mhm.
just the division in our country, darkness, the hatred for one another in our country, darkness. So yeah.
Mhm. So we're drawn to a close. I have a last thought. I was thinking about this is the time of darkness, but on some of these very cold nights for us here in Vermont, the stars are so brilliant. And we recently had the full moon that just filled our house with light. And so the light is there along with the darkness. And it's beautiful, and you are beautiful, and thank you very much.
Yeah, someone in our group mentioned that the darker it is, the brighter the stars. Yeah.
So I think we're going to have some closing music. Oh, Robert.
I just shamelessly want to say that in our group, 2 of us have had books printed, and I'm putting them in the chat.
Good for you.
It's a way of reaching out.
Thank you, Robert. We appreciate those. We'll make sure we save the chat and add those to the list. Rua, there's actually a poem before we hear the music. Do you want me to read it?
Yes, I didn't know I was supposed to read a poem.
Well, let me share this poem by Jan
Oh,
Richards.
good.
It is the text of the song that we'll end with, but it's a beautiful poem and we wanted to make sure you heard the words. It's called Where the Light Begins. Perhaps it does not begin. Perhaps it is, always. Perhaps it takes a lifetime to open our eyes, to learn to see what has forever shimmered in front of us. The luminous line of the map in the dark, the vigil flame in the house of the heart, the love so searing we cannot keep from singing, from crying out in testimony and praise. Perhaps this day will be the mountain over which the dawn breaks. Perhaps we will turn our face toward it, toward what has been always. Perhaps our eyes will finally open in ancient recognition, willingly dazzled, illuminated at last. Perhaps this day the light begins in us. And now a setting by Susan Labar of that poem. Thank you for being with us, everyone.
Perhaps it is not
Good night, all.
Wonderful to be together.